Hello and welcome to Frank's School. I'm going to start something sort of new today. I'm going to undertake to offer an advent calendar of hymns and carols. That's what I'm going to call it. When I was a kid, we used to get an advent calendar. I'm sure many people still do. We haven't as an adult. My family hasn't done it for quite a while. But you open a little window each day as Christmas gets nearer, and there's a little picture in there. We used to delight in that, an advent calendar. Well, I'm going to do it with hymns and with carols, but mostly hymns. I'm going to take hymns that are found in the first 48 or so hymns in this Lutheran hymnal, which I continually praise as possibly the best hymnal I think ever made in English. And the one I'm going to start with is not the very first one. I'm not going to go with every single one that's there. I'm going to go with ones that are fairly well known and can be sung in four-part harmony, usually. However, this first one, with my ad hoc choir that is helping me with this, I skipped across it. I said, no, let's not sing that one. And I wasn't sure why. I knew it wasn't going to sound good. And I think it's because it's a plain song melody, mode 1. It's not that conducive, really, to four-part harmony as it developed after the Baroque period. It's meant more to be sung by, say, monks in robes, singing in organum or in octaves. Organum. I talked about organum I should say QV. You could maybe check that out. Organum is a kind of harmony that sounds strange to the modern ear. It's medieval. It's at parallel fifths is what it is. That would probably sound okay. But in any case, I opted to not have this ad hoc kind volunteering choir sing it. They could have, with no problem. And mode 1, well, see, now there's really two modes. There's a major mode and a minor mode since the Baroque period. But before that, there were, I think, maybe 7 different modes of music, and they sound so strange. O Come, Emmanuel is the hymn I'm talking about. It's a translation of an older Latin text, which may come out of the 8th century. The melody may come out of the 12th century. They're not actually really sure. This is the man who translated it, what I have here. And if you want to hear it, and I recommend highly that you do hear it, it was lucky for me, in a way, because I rediscovered Robert Shaw's chorale. I just hadn't thought about him for a while, because at the moment I'm not thinking about choral music as much as simple four-part harmony singing. But Robert Shaw, I would have to say he's probably the finest choral conductor in the history of America. He's dead now in the United States. I don't know if he ever did anything badly. So if you would look up Robert Shaw chorale, QV means quod vide, which see. Go see that. And I came across him because I typed that into YouTube to see what was there. And then I typed in organum because I thought, well, maybe I'll hear it being sung in organum. And what came up was this, and it wasn't really organum. All right, enough really about the music. Here's the sentence. There's the sentence that I'm going to diagram. I'm going to do that with these. I'll offer a suggestion, or with the ad hoc choir, I'll offer an example of these hymns or carols. But I'm also going to analyze at least one sentence out of it, and the verse form. The verse form goes like this. O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel that mourns in lowly exile here until the Son of God appear. The rhyme scheme is A, A, B, B, and it goes along like that. This is iambic tetrameter. There's 4 feet per line. And I wanted to point this lack of an S out. O come, Emmanuel, and ransom. This is the opening sentence. This would be capitalized only because it begins a line of verse. And ransom captive Israel. This also would be capitalized because it starts that one. that mourns in lowly exile here, and this would be capitalized. If you listen to the Robert Shaw version of it, notice how that choir does not breathe there. And it does not breathe there because that disrupts the text. There's no comma there. And so they sing right on through it. But the lack of an S, the Son of God appears, we would say, in modern English, until the Son of God appears. But there's no S. Well, that's because this is subjunctive. This is a leftover of something older. It hasn't happened yet. And so that casts some languages into what's called a subjunctive mood. Not indicative, but subjunctive. Now that's almost completely disappeared from modern English. And apparently from German too. Now in Portuguese it was there, and it was so satisfying to use it once you got control of it. It made so much sense to change the verb. But it takes some doing to get used to that. All right, now I'm going to go to a second shot. I'm going to write this on there again, and then I'm going to diagram that sentence. So I'll go right on with another shot. Hello, I've erased the board and I've rewritten the sentence up here. O come, May. There's the sentence. And I thought about leaving the board blank. You could just ignore this and just try to diagram it if you want. But I decided no, to make it quicker, I'll put the structure on the board. Ignore this for the moment. So there it is. You can see I will add one thing. This is not part of Reed Kellogg, but that's a repetition, repeating sign from music. And I think it might be an eloquent way to show this. So, all right, if you've taken your shot at it, here we go. O is an interjection. O, and this is a command. It's imperative mood, but it's begging God to come, or Emmanuel to come. This would not have to be capitalized now. O come, and then it says, O come. It repeats it. Come. Emmanuel, now this is a noun of direct address. This is who's being addressed, Emmanuel. Come and. Now I thought about making it three clauses. O come, and join the three. But this is not actually a new thought. It's not to do three things. It's really to do two things. Come and ransom. That's simply repetition. So I'm introducing that. Sorry, Reed Kellogg, or thanks. But anyway, I'm going to try to improve it here. Once again, a command, ransom. Ransom Israel. There's a direct object. What kind of Israel? Captive. Well, it mourns in lowly exile. Israel is in exile. This is probably must be about the Babylonian exile. I think the text comes from, I want to say Isaiah. Anyway, now here we've got a relative pronoun. Israel mourns. Israel mourns. That mourns. And you see in this adjective clause, what kind of Israel? That mourns in lowly that mourns. The relative pronoun is being connected to its antecedent. That mourns where? In exile. The Babylonian exile. Lowly. What kind of exile? Lowly. And mourns where? Here. Now you could probably say, well, exile here. But I don't think, this isn't, you could debate it. And when? Until. Here's a subordinating conjunction. Here's an adverb clause that answers the question when, until, the. Now this is a son of man. Son of man, I put that together. You could say son, what kind of son of man? Or God, I'm sorry, it's confusing. Son of God, appear. That's a phrasal noun is what that's called. The Son of God, appear. Really, in a way, this isn't that difficult a sentence. So there you have it. These connect. Well, never mind. I've thought about this elsewhere. O come thou dayspring. Now, from these hymns and carols, I'm going to pull out vocabulary. And it was tempting, to pull out Emmanuel. Although in class vocabulary, when I taught it, I said no proper nouns. And I also didn't want nouns from textbooks. I didn't want to launch into a chemistry class because they came up with bicarbonate of soda or something like that. It was tempting because probably students wouldn't necessarily know exactly what that means. Or Israel, isn't that a place? But no, I go to a later stanza. Later stanza is, "O come thou dayspring." That caught my attention. What is a dayspring? How is God or Emmanuel referred to as a dayspring? And I looked it up, and I won't tell you. I won't tell you. I'll save that for later on. But it was very interesting to me. It's archaic and very old. It was in Middle English, and it's pretty clearly a compound noun, that's called. But that would be the vocabulary word that I would draw out for class vocabulary. All right, see you on the second day of Advent. And in the meantime, have a happy first day of Advent.